Hey guys, it's me, Boy Genius here. Before I start this podcast, I just want to give a shout out to my cousin Mason. If he's watching this right now, shout out goes to you. You're an awesome cousin, and yeah, I love you. Like, if you're watching this, shout out goes to you, man. Hey guys, welcome back to the Boy Genius Podcast show. This is the actual 4th episode at that. I know that the last episode I messed something up and accidentally made the 3rd on the 4th one on the cover for that episode. But no, this is the real 4th episode. 3rd one, we talked about hackers gaining access to your computer without the need of your password, but this one is going to be talking about a different subject. Unlike episode 3, this one is going to be a darker subject than that one, so just a heads up. If you are a child or someone who does not like to listen to this sort of stuff, then I would advise you not listen to this podcast, and maybe we'll see each other again in another video or a podcast. I was going to do this topic in the last episode, but I changed my mind, and now here I am doing it for the 4th installment of the podcast show. If you were born in the 1980s or downwards or old enough to even remember what life was like back then you most likely have heard about the 1993 World Trade Center bombings, and the 9/11 attacks. I honestly think, along with most people, that the 9/11 attacks are the number one most brutal killings, and the 93 attacks are the second ones. The worst ones that I've heard of. I wasn't even alive when either one of those happened. And the 3rd worst thing I have ever seen, and I didn't know about until recently. Matter of fact, I think I changed my mind. This is the 2nd worst thing I've seen, aside from the 9/11 attacks. So, one day, I was in the living room just hanging out with my aunt and uncle, and the dog, and my cousin April. My aunt and uncle were watching an episode of Snapped, that murder documentary TV show. And they were talking about a case, but it didn't catch my eye until my uncle told me to watch. And so I did. And what I saw was this guy wearing a white t-shirt, sitting in front of a cop car, but he looked like he was being held hostage or something like that, because I didn't know what was going on. So I thought, so what? Just some guy sitting in front of a cop car. But as I kept watching, the dude just blows up on camera. And no, I'm not talking about blowing up like getting mad at cops. I'm talking about blowing up like as if there was a bomb right there, like he had a bomb. But the thing is, I never saw the bomb being dropped by the guy. The guy was handcuffed the whole time. He blew up, and I'm in shock at it because I was not expecting it. And I told my uncle, "Why did you show me that?" I was just in such shock about that part of the episode, but at the same time, I wanted some more information about it. So I looked it up, and the guy who blew up and died was known as Brian Wells. He was only 46 when the incident happened. So here's what happened. On August 28th, 2003, which was 2 months exactly after I was born, so I would still be a baby at the time of this incident, after 1:30 p.m., he received a call at the pizza place he was working at in Erie, Pennsylvania, calling asking for 2 pizzas and to deliver them to an address of 8631 Peach Street, which is a few miles away. The location he was bringing the pizzas to was not residential or anywhere normal. He was bringing them to the WSEE TV transmitter tower. That is where the suspects of this whole thing put the car bomb, which is what I found out what exploded him was, on the guy's neck. Of course, Wells found out that the bomb was real, and he was scared, but he complied with the suspects so they would not kill him right then and there. But how little would this guy know that there was no way out of it? The suspects made up some scavenger hunt and was making Brian go around town to the locations in an apparent effort that he could find the parts to disarm the bomb and not kill him. They were strictly timed tasks, and there was a threat saying "act now or die later" at the bottom of the instructions. That is where we lead up to the bank robbery and eventually the killing. Wells was instructed to enter the PNC Bank quietly on Peach Street and ask for $250,000. Now, before I continue with this, he walked in with a cane and for some reason with a white t-shirt over his other one in a weird angle. But we all know what this stuff really is when he pointed his cane up, revealing that it was actually a shotgun to anybody who refused to comply. You know, typical bank robbery type stuff. Then he reveals the collar bomb and said it would detonate in 15 minutes if he could not get that money in the time. But the people working at the bank would not be able to complete the request that Brian demanded, so instead of getting $250,000, he walked out with a bag of $8,702. Then, boom. As he was going out of the bank, here comes Erie Police Department. They handcuffed him, but instead of putting him in the cop car for the sake of him having a bomb, they sat him down in front of the car and cleared the area for this bomb so no one would get hurt. Erie Police Department did notify the bomb squad to get to the area as soon as possible, but it would be too late due to the traffic in that area. The bomb squad could not get to Brian's location and the bomb detonated before the squad could arrive, killing Wells in seconds. The explosion left a fist-sized hole in Wells' chest. Now, there were two suspects involved in the murder. Marjorie DeHill Armstrong and Kenneth Barnes, which are both dead now, which is good. Justice for Brian Wells, you know. It just amazes me how people can just do this for whatever reason. Not the killing, but the planning, you know. They made the collar bomb using a big handcuff-looking thing to put around the victim's neck, and using pipe bombs, 2 kitchen timers, and an electric timer that hung down over the chest. Now I see why Brian had that extra shirt over his neck during the robbery so they couldn't see the bomb until he revealed it. And a toy cell phone. And stickers bearing deceptive warnings. It just amazes me in a weird way and makes me wonder how did they do all that. As for the shotgun cane, I don't know if it was made by the terrorists themselves or if they bought it off someone. But that also weirdly amazes me how someone can make a shotgun or a gun out of some random object like that. It's kind of like the Umbrella Man during the November 22nd shooting of President John F. Kennedy back in 1963. Or at least that's what if the man's umbrella was a shotgun or not, but I really couldn't tell, honestly. Alright, so here is some backstory about the pizza bomber victim. Brian Wells was born on November 15th, 1956 in Warren, Pennsylvania. So this means that Wells was born and raised in that state. Brian was the son of Rose M. Wells and Harold C. Wells. Harold died in 1990 after a long illness of muscular sclerosis. Harold left a family of 5 loving children and a devoted wife. The family was a hardworking, serious, and dedicated family that had struggled many years throughout Harold's long illness. Despite the difficult circumstances, the family thrived. Brian worked as a pizza delivery man and was well known and liked by all who knew him. Brian died due to an explosive device connected to his body by others in an unsuccessful plan to exploit Brian and carry out a robbery. It was a nationally publicized extraordinary tragedy that resulted in the death of a well-regarded nice young man. Some people even think that Brian was in on this whole thing, but I strongly disagree with that after reading up on this, because if you think about it, why would you, being a loved child and raised in a thriving family, just do this? Why would Brian want to become involved with these people? But then again, people believe what they want, or they believe what they want to, but I know Brian, just from reading up on this, that he would not intentionally create this scenario just to kill himself. He was held hostage, and that whole time, and they threatened him if he did not comply with the orders given to him. Now, I'm gonna get people in the comments asking me, what would I have done if that were me? I would do the same thing, because I would not want to die. And if I was in that situation, I would be doomed too, because once that bomb is on, he would not have been able to get it off him. They even forced him to say it was like black people who put the bomb on him, when really it was not. But honestly, if that were me, I would be bold as shit in that situation. I would have ratted out the suspects, even if the bomb detonated while I did it, because I would have been fucked. But at the same time, it would have made it easy for the cops to find the suspects. The suspects got away with what they deserved, they got what they deserved, and even 20 years later, rest in peace to Brian Wells, and, he was an awesome guy, and, an awesome pizza delivery guy that did not deserve the death that he got in that situation. Like, he literally did not deserve that at all. He was just trying to, do his job, make money and stuff like that. And just for some idiots to come up and do that to him, that's just really messed up. Like, what did that guy do, But it's whatever. Rest in peace to Brian Wells, 1956 to 2003. These suspects that did this to him can all fucking rot in hell for all I care. I mean, really. Just imagine committing a bank robbery, but making a freaking bomb to put on someone's neck just to kill them. Like, I could not imagine myself doing that at all to anybody. I don't care if that's even friends or enemies. Like, I still just cannot imagine doing that to anybody at all. But, well, here we are at the end of this podcast. What should I do, or what should I talk about for my next one? And if you guys have an idea, leave a comment down below. Like, it could be anything. Even aside from famous murder incidents, or murders, or incidents. And leave a like and subscribe and click the bell. Only if you want to. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. But it's totally your choice, though. Alright, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. And you guys have a great one. Stay warm.